Hello, my dears. Grandma here has a story that will make you think, question, and maybe even get a little indignant. I want you to imagine for a moment, you're in your home, the place where you feel safest, where your privacy is sacred. You walk freely, sing loudly while cooking, maybe even dance a little when no one's watching. It's your refuge, your sanctuary. Now, imagine discovering that your own child, yes, the child you raised, whom you love more than anything, whom you trust implicitly, has installed cameras in your house, without telling you a single word, not a warning, not a prior conversation. Just there, recording. Suddenly, your every move, every sigh, every moment of quiet, might be watched. What would you do? How would you feel? That's exactly what happened to me, and I confess to you, the feeling was indescribable. It wasn't a burglar, it wasn't a stranger invading my physical space, but rather someone of my own flesh and blood invading my privacy in a way I never imagined. And here's the burning question, the question that haunted me for days, and that I'm sure will echo in your minds. When a child decides to monitor their parents in this way, is it an act of genuine love and concern, or is it an invasion of privacy and, perhaps, even disguised control? This is one of those stories that catches you by surprise, that makes you scratch your head and think, did that really happen? Believe me, it did. And Grandma here is ready to open her heart and tell every detail. What you're about to discover might surprise you and, who knows, even change your perspective on family relationships, trust, and the delicate line that separates care from control. Have you ever experienced this, or do you know someone who went through a similar situation? Think carefully, because this is a dilemma that many families are facing nowadays. With all this technology around us, I've always been a person who values my independence greatly. I've spent my life building my own space, my routines, my little pleasures. My home has always been the place where I could be myself, unfiltered. And suddenly, that feeling was shaken. Where is the limit of well-meaning? Where does the surveillance begin? It's a complex issue, full of nuances, and I promise I won't shy away from any of them. My intention here isn't to point fingers, but to share a very personal experience that made me reflect deeply on love, concern, and, of course, on privacy in old age. Stay with me until the end, because the journey to understand and resolve this situation was long and full of twists and turns. I'll tell you how I found out, what my first reaction was, the conversation I had with my son. Oh, that conversation, and what I learned from it all. This is a story that needs to be told, not just for me, but for all of you who, in some way, might be experiencing similar dilemmas, or just want to understand a little more about the heart of a grandma who suddenly found herself in the spotlight of her own home. Get ready, because what comes next is the most shocking part. Get ready, because what comes next is the most shocking part. You see, that feeling of having my private world suddenly exposed, it hit me deep. It wasn't just about cameras, it was about trust, about autonomy, about that fundamental need we all have to feel truly at home in our own space. And I wonder, have any of you, my dear friends, ever felt a similar breach of your personal boundaries? Perhaps not with cameras, but with something else that made you question the intentions of those closest to you. Maybe a well-meaning family member overstepped a boundary, or a decision was made for you without your consent. If this rings true for you, if this topic touches a chord, I truly want to hear from you. Please, share your thoughts, your experiences, or even just how this story makes you feel, right here in the comments below. Your insights are so incredibly valuable to me, and to everyone else who watches this. We can build a wonderful community here, sharing our stories and realizing we're not alone in these complex family dynamics. And if what I'm sharing resonates with you, if you feel this story is important and deserves to be heard, then there's a simple way you can help me spread this message. Just give this video a gentle like. That little thumb up might seem small, but it tells YouTube that this content matters, that these conversations are important, and it helps my stories reach more people who might be going through something similar, or just need to hear a grandma's perspective. Your participation here is truly what makes this channel grow, and allows me to reach more folks with these heartfelt stories and a bit of wisdom from my many years. If you've enjoyed our time together, and if you want to keep receiving these honest, real-life tales from Grandma, please consider subscribing to my channel. It means the world to me, knowing that you want to stick around and hear what else I have to share. It keeps this little corner of the internet, where we connect and learn from each other, alive, and thriving. Your support ensures that more grandma stories can find their way to you, offering comfort, insight, and perhaps a good chuckle or a reflective tear. So, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join our growing family here. Because the journey to understanding this whole love versus control dilemma and what happened next, that's where the real lessons began. Because the journey to understanding this whole love versus control dilemma and what happened next, that's where the real lessons began. It was an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, if memory serves me right. The sun was streaming through my kitchen window, warming the potted herbs on the sill. I remember humming a little tune, something old, from my younger days, as I carefully watered my prize-winning African violets. Each leaf a vibrant green, each blossom a tiny jewel. My little routine, just me, my plants, and the quiet comfort of my own home. Later, I settled into my favorite armchair in the living room, the one with the worn velvet that perfectly cradles you, ready to lose myself in a good mystery novel. The house was peaceful, filled only with the soft ticking of the old grandfather clock and the occasional chirp of a bird outside. But as my eyes scanned the familiar room, something shifted. My gaze landed on the bookshelf next to the fireplace. It's a place I look at every day, filled with beloved books, photographs, and little trinkets collected over a lifetime. Yet, tucked discreetly behind a small ceramic bird, something glinted. It wasn't a new knickknack, nor an ornament I'd forgotten about. It was too perfectly round, too subtly dark. My heart gave a little flutter, a nervous tremor. I couldn't explain. What was that? I set my book down, my curiosity piqued, and slowly got up. My knees creaked a bit, as they often do these days, but my mind was sharp, focused on that tiny, suspicious point. I grabbed my reading glasses from the end table, slipped them on, and leaned in closer. And there it was, unmistakable, a small, dark lens, expertly placed. My breath hitched. It was a camera, a tiny, unblinking eye staring out into my living room, my sanctuary. The truth of what I was seeing started to dawn on me. A cold realization that spread through my chest like ice. My initial thought was confusion, a mistake, perhaps. But then, a wave of unease washed over me. I started to look around, really look, with a new, unsettling perspective. My eyes, now accustomed to spotting the subtle abnormality, darted from corner to corner. And yes, there was another, almost hidden amidst some decorative pottery on the mantelpiece, and another, tucked away on the top shelf, near the ceiling in the hallway, almost invisible unless you knew exactly what you were looking for. The discovery wasn't just one isolated incident. It was a carefully orchestrated network. This wasn't accidental. This was deliberate, and the realization of this hidden truth sent a profound shiver down my spine. The feeling, oh my dears, it was a volatile mix. There was the initial shock, of course. How could this be? In my home. Then came a rush of confusion. Why would anyone do this? And then, a deeper, more unsettling emotion settled in: betrayal. It wasn't a stranger who had done this. It was my son. The thought reverberated through me, knocking the wind right out of my sails. My own flesh and blood. The very ground seemed to disappear from under my feet, leaving me feeling suspended in a strange, disorienting void. My home, which had always felt like an extension of myself, suddenly felt like a stage where every move I made was potentially being recorded. The impact of that realization was immediate and profound. A fundamental shift in my mindset about my own space, my own privacy. It felt like my personal journey of independence had just hit a very unexpected roadblock, a major decision point I never anticipated. This wasn't just about a few gadgets. It was about the very essence of my peace, my comfort, my sense of being truly alone in my own four walls. It felt like a curtain had been pulled back, revealing some uncomfortable backstage truth about my supposedly safe haven. The immediate revelations were overwhelming, forcing me to confront a reality I was utterly unprepared for. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject. Comment here. My home, my rules. The moment the full weight of what I had discovered settled upon me, a veritable storm of emotions erupted inside. My heart, which had been racing with the shock of discovery, now pounded with a different rhythm. First, there was a scorching wave of anger. How could my own son, my flesh and blood, whom I had nurtured and raised, whom I trusted implicitly, whom I loved with every fiber of my being, do something so, intrusive, so disrespectful. The very idea felt like a betrayal that stung to my core. The feeling wasn't just disappointment, it was a profound sense of having been violated. Not physically, but in a much deeper, more personal way. It was an assault on my autonomy, a challenge to the very foundation of my independence. This wasn't the kind of love I understood, but almost immediately that anger was tempered by a crushing wave of sadness. Would my own son, whom I believed knew me better than anyone, truly do something like this behind my back? It brought a tear to my eye, an ache in my chest that was far worse than any physical pain. It made me question everything I thought I knew about our relationship. Was this his way of caring? Or was it something else entirely? The thought was a bitter pill to swallow. And then, as those initial powerful emotions subsided just a little, a creeping, chilling fear began to take hold. What else could he be hiding? If he was willing to install cameras without my knowledge, what other secrets might be lurking? What other truths hidden from me? The reality of his actions brought with it a cascade of unsettling questions that echoed through the sudden silence of my once peaceful home. It wasn't just about the cameras anymore. It was about a larger sense of trust being eroded, a feeling that I was no longer in control of my own narrative, my own journey through this chapter of my life. The impact of this discovery was profound, a true transformation of how I viewed my most intimate space, my home, which had always been my sanctuary, my safe haven where I could truly unwind and be myself, suddenly felt like a movie set. Every room, every corner, every personal moment felt potentially exposed. I felt naked, vulnerable, and completely exposed, even though I was entirely alone. Imagine that feeling. It's like stepping onto a stage without realizing the audience is already there, watching your every private gesture. The simple act of pouring myself a cup of tea, or reading my mail, or even just stretching in the morning, suddenly felt observed. That genuine freedom, that carefree spirit I always cherished within these walls, vanished in an instant. This profound shift in my personal space truly challenged my mentality about what security truly means, and what it costs. Has anyone here ever felt like this, having their privacy violated by someone they love? It's such a complex web of emotions, isn't it? It challenges not only your boundaries, but also your very understanding of the people you cherish most. This isn't just a simple disagreement. It's a deep-seated issue that forces you to make tough decisions about trust and boundaries. It forces you to look at the backstage motives, not just the surface actions. This impact rippled through every aspect of my daily life, making me acutely aware of an invisible presence, a constant reminder of the truth hidden behind my son's supposed good intentions. It forced me to think about things I never had to before, like the implications of technology in our most personal relationships, and how even those closest to us can, with the best intentions, inadvertently strip away our fundamental sense of security and self. The feeling of being watched, even if it was out of love, transformed my perception of my own home, from a fortress of solitude into a glass house. Now, as I navigated this new, unsettling reality, the next big question emerged, one that truly put our relationship to the test. Comment here. Feeling exposed. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, moving past the initial shock and the storm of emotions, to a place where I truly tried to understand. After all those feelings settled, just a little, the big why started to echo in my mind. Why would my son, my dear boy, do something so drastic, so seemingly uncharacteristic of the open, loving relationship I thought we had? I racked my brain, replaying conversations, trying to piece together any hints, any revelations that might have led to such a profound decision on his part. I knew his heart, I truly did. He's always been a worrier, ever since he was a little boy, always looking out for me, for his sisters, for everyone he cares about. His mindset has always leaned towards protection, a shield against the world's harshness. So I started to tell myself, maybe this was his way of protecting me. The older I get, the more stories you hear, don't you? Stories about older folks falling and lying there for hours, or being taken advantage of by unscrupulous people. Maybe he'd heard something, or seen something on the news, that sparked a deep-seated fear for my safety. Was he genuinely afraid I might fall and not be able to call for help? Was he worried about potential intruders, a burglar breaking into my home, knowing I live alone? Or perhaps, was there a hidden truth he perceived about my vulnerability that I myself wasn't fully acknowledging? It's a mother's natural instinct to understand her child, even when their actions are bewildering, and I found myself trying to walk in his shoes, trying to see the world through his worried eyes. This was the complex journey I embarked on internally, trying to unravel the tangled threads of concern and control. But here's where the real moral dilemma, the core of this whole impactful situation, truly hit me. I know he loves me. There's no doubt in my heart about that. Every hug, every phone call, every visit, it all speaks of his deep affection. But where do you draw the line? Where does that boundless love for your parent cross into something else entirely? Where does loving me, wanting me safe and sound, transition into subtly controlling my life, into watching over my every move? Is caring for someone synonymous with constant surveillance? This was a transformation of our relationship that I hadn't signed up for, a new layer to our family dynamic that felt both protective and profoundly unsettling. It was like seeing the behind the scenes of his care for me, and realizing it involved a script I wasn't aware of. It's hard, isn't it, to reconcile those two powerful forces, unconditional love versus what felt like a breach of trust. My mind wrestled with this paradox. Could it truly be an expression of his love, albeit a misguided one? Or was there an element of him trying to manage my life, to ease his own anxieties by having constant eyes on me? The answers weren't simple, and the more I pondered, the more tangled the web seemed to become. The very thought that his actions might stem from a place of genuine concern made it even harder to process, adding layers of guilt to my initial anger and sadness. It forced a fundamental reevaluation of our connection. I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that I needed to have a conversation with him. Not a fight, not an accusation, but a real heart-to-heart talk about this monumental discovery and the profound feelings it stirred within me. But how do you even begin a conversation like that with your child, the one who thinks he's doing right by you? How do you articulate the invisible fences he had built around me within my own home? The prospect of that conversation filled me with a mixture of dread and resolve. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing I had to take that leap, for the sake of our relationship, for my own peace of mind, and for his own understanding. It was a decision I couldn't shy away from, no matter how difficult. The path forward seemed hazy, but the need for clarity was paramount. Right there, love versus control. You are absolutely right, my dears. We've discussed the initial shock, the storm of emotions, the perplexing why, and the painful reality of losing my sense of privacy. That internal journey of grappling with love versus control was intense, but it led me to an undeniable truth. I couldn't just sit with this hidden truth lurking in my home. A decision had to be made, and a conversation, as daunting as it seemed, was the only way forward. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, into what felt like the most critical moment of this entire experience, the confrontation. After days of wrestling with my thoughts, of feeling that subtle yet constant impact on my mindset, I knew what I had to do. I needed to talk to my son, but not with the anger that initially flared up, nor with the sadness that later weighed me down. No, this had to be different. This had to be a conversation driven by an open heart, a desire for understanding, and a firm, yet gentle, assertion of my boundaries. I spent a good deal of time preparing myself, rehearsing what I'd say, trying to anticipate his reactions. It felt like I was getting ready for a crucial performance, though the only stage was my living room, and the only audience was my son. This was the true transformation I needed to embody, from a silently hurt mother to an empowered individual, ready to reclaim her space and dignity. I chose the right moment. It wasn't rushed, it wasn't over the phone, and it wasn't when either of us was stressed or distracted. It was a quiet Saturday afternoon. He had come over, as he often does, to check in, fix a leaky faucet, and share a cup of coffee. The air was calm, the sunlight soft. It felt like the perfect, neutral setting for what I knew would be anything but neutral. My heart was pounding, a nervous drumbeat in my chest, but I took a deep breath, looked him in the eye, and began. "My son," I started, my voice, I hoped, steady despite the tremor in my hands. "I love you very much. You know that, don't you?" He nodded, a little puzzled perhaps. "But we need to talk about something very important. We need to talk about the cameras you installed in my house." The words hung in the air, thick with unspoken emotion. His face, my dear boy's face, immediately drained of color. He visibly flinched, his eyes wide with a mix of surprise and, I think, a touch of guilt. It was clear, in that instant, that my discovery was indeed a revelation to him, that I knew. And then he started to explain his side. The words tumbled out, a torrent of worry and perceived necessity. He talked about his fears for my safety, the news stories he'd seen about elderly people falling, or being scammed, or having intruders. He spoke about his long work hours, his inability to be here all the time, his desperate need for peace of mind. He truly believed he was doing the right thing, acting out of profound care. His intentions, from his mindset, were pure. He saw it as protection, as a way to ensure I was safe, even when he couldn't be physically present. It was his version of showing love, a very modern, technologically driven version. He wasn't trying to control me, he insisted. He was trying to keep me from harm. This was the behind-the-scenes perspective, the explanation for his perplexing decision. It was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had in my life. Standing there, listening to him, I could see the love in his eyes, the genuine concern, etched on his face, and a part of me, the mother in me, wanted to hug him and tell him it was okay. But another part, the woman who cherished her dignity and autonomy, knew it wasn't okay. Not entirely. The silence that followed his explanation was heavy, filled with unspoken truths, and the echoes of bruised feelings. It was a moment of profound impact on our relationship, a crossroads where we both had to decide how we would navigate the landscape of trust and privacy. This wasn't just about the technology anymore. It was about the delicate balance of love and respect between a grown child and an aging parent. This pivotal conversation was truly a turning point in my entire journey. Right there, the talk. You are absolutely right, my dears. My apologies. We've just navigated the talk, that pivotal moment when I looked my son in the eye and spoke my truth. It was a crossroads, a moment of raw vulnerability and urgent necessity. We heard his side, his explanations, rooted in concern and perhaps a misguided sense of duty. But that was just the beginning of the real conversation, the part that truly tested the bonds of our family. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, into the heart of that very difficult dialogue, because it was in those next few minutes that our relationship faced its most profound test. After he poured out his heart, explaining his fears for my safety, his late nights worrying, and his conviction that these cameras were the only way to ensure my well-being, the room fell silent again, a heavy, pregnant silence. I could see the earnestness in his eyes, the genuine worry that clouded his face, and a part of my mother's heart ached for him, for the burden of responsibility he felt. But then, my own truth, my own pain, had to find its voice. Son, I began, my voice soft but firm. I hear your fears, and I understand your love, I truly do. But when you installed those cameras without telling me, you didn't just place a device in my home, you placed a question mark over my independence. You took away my peace of mind, the feeling of being truly private in my own space. My home is my sanctuary, my kingdom, my personal space. And suddenly, it felt like a cage, like a movie set where every move I made was being watched. That's a huge impact on a person, on their very mindset about living freely. I explained to him, carefully, how I felt stripped of my autonomy. Imagine, dear, I might have said, walking around your own home, knowing there's a lens capturing your every private moment, thinking twice before putting on your pajamas, or singing loudly while doing dishes, or even just sitting quietly and shedding a tear. That sense of constant surveillance, even from someone you love, is incredibly oppressive. It transforms your personal haven into a constant stage. For a grandma who has always cherished her independence, who has made her own decisions and lived her own journey for decades, that hurts. It hurts deeply. He listened. He really listened, which was a revelation in itself, because sometimes our children, in their zeal to fix things, don't always hear us. His expression shifted, from defensiveness to a thoughtful concern. He saw the genuine pain in my eyes, the true depth of my feeling. It wasn't about him being wrong, or me being right. It was about two people who loved each other trying to bridge a gap created by differing perspectives on care and freedom. This wasn't a simple argument. It was an unveiling of a hidden truth about how we perceived each other's needs and boundaries. It was a powerful, emotional transformation in our understanding. We talked for a long time, exploring the behind-the-scenes anxieties that had led him to this point, and my equally profound need for respect and dignity. There were tears on both our parts, and moments of uncomfortable silence where the weight of the situation hung heavy between us. But through it all, there was a thread of love, a shared history that held us together. Even when the conversation felt like it was tearing us apart, it truly was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had, forcing us both to confront uncomfortable truths, to look past intentions and truly see the impact of actions. Yet, for all its difficulty, it was also one of the most important, a crucial step on our family's journey to rediscover genuine trust and mutual respect. We didn't solve everything in that single conversation, of course, but something fundamental shifted. The air was cleared, and a new path, however uncertain, began to emerge. Right there, open heart talk. You are absolutely right, my dears. My apologies. It seems we've been deep in the heart of that negotiation, tirelessly working to bridge the gap between my son's genuine worries and my sacred need for privacy. We discussed the fears, weighed the options, and explored those new technologies designed for elder safety. It was a heartfelt journey of compromise, where every step felt like a new revelation about how families truly function when facing difficult decisions. And I left you wondering, did we actually come to a solution? Did we find that elusive perfect balance where he felt secure and I felt respected? Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, into the outcome of that challenging conversation, and the path we chose to move forward. After much back and forth, after countless cups of coffee, and more than a few moments of quiet reflection, we found our way. The raw honesty of our discussion, the willingness to truly listen to each other's perspectives, that was the key. We agreed that the video cameras, the ones that had invaded my sense of personal space, would be removed entirely. That was non-negotiable for me, and he, to his credit, understood the profound impact they had on my sense of dignity. That immediate transformation of knowing they were gone was like a breath of fresh air, a weight lifted from my shoulders. Instead of constant visual surveillance, we explored alternatives that honored both his concern and my autonomy. We settled on a combination of solutions. Firstly, a modern, discreet medical alert system was installed, one of those wearables that connects directly to emergency services if I have a fall or need immediate help. This gave him a profound sense of relief, knowing that there was a direct, proactive measure in place for immediate emergencies, without the constant, invisible eye watching my every private moment. This shifted his mindset from needing to see me to needing to know I was safe. Secondly, we agreed on a routine of regular, scheduled check-ins, not random calls that made me feel like I was being audited, but specific times each day when he or one of my other children would call or FaceTime just to say hello and confirm I was all right. This simple act of connection, built on mutual agreement, became a new ritual of care that felt far more supportive and far less intrusive. It was a compromise that truly worked for both of us, a testament to what can be achieved when love is met with open communication and respect for individual boundaries. This felt like the true behind-the-scenes work of family, finding solutions that strengthen, rather than strain, our bonds. There was also a subtle understanding that emerged from this whole ordeal, a hidden truth revealed about the complexities of caregiving. My son admitted that he felt overwhelmed by the responsibility of ensuring my safety, especially living at a distance. He hadn't known how else to manage that anxiety. And I, in turn, gained a deeper appreciation for the weight he carried. This wasn't just about my privacy. It was also about his genuine, albeit sometimes misguided, love and fear. This new revelation profoundly affected how we approached each other moving forward. It wasn't about blame. It was about understanding and finding constructive ways to navigate the challenges of aging parents and concerned children. This marked a profound transformation in our understanding of each other's needs. The feeling of stepping into my living room after those cameras were gone was indescribable. It was like reclaiming a lost part of myself, a silent triumph of privacy and independence. It didn't mean his worries vanished completely, nor did it mean every family dynamic became perfectly smooth overnight, but it was a monumental step forward, a clear decision to prioritize dignity alongside safety, and it paved the way for an ongoing conversation about how we adapt to life's changes, together, as a family, without sacrificing what makes each of us feel truly at home, in our own skin, in our own space. This was a critical point in my life's journey, setting a precedent for our future interactions. Comment here. Respectful compromise. Now I want to go even deeper into this subject, my dears, because what happened after that difficult talk with my son wasn't just about a simple agreement on cameras. It was a profound transformation in our family's mindset, a continuous journey of understanding and respect that continues to this day. This experience taught me, with absolute clarity, that communication in the family isn't a one-time conversation. It's a living, breathing thing that requires constant nurturing, especially as we all change and grow older. The initial revelation of the cameras was just the beginning. The real wisdom came from learning how to navigate the complex emotional landscape that followed. This deep dive into our family dynamics reinforced my belief that it's absolutely vital to talk openly about fears and concerns. My son, in his heart, was driven by fear for my safety, fear of the unknown that comes with aging. And I, in my silence before the discovery, was inadvertently allowing a situation to fester that compromised my sense of self. The hidden truth for both of us was that we weren't truly communicating our deepest anxieties and needs. It's so easy to fall into assumptions, to think we know what's best, or that our loved ones will simply understand our intentions. But intentions, no matter how good, can have a painful impact if not communicated with clarity and respect for the other person's perspective. And this brings me to my most heartfelt advice for children and parents navigating these later stages of life. If you are a child, brimming with concern for your aging parents, please, reach out. Don't just act for them. Act with them. Talk to your parents. Ask them how they genuinely feel about their living situation, their needs, their hopes, and their fears. Listen with an open heart, not just with a plan already formed in your head. Offer support, offer solutions, but always, always respect their autonomy and their long-held independence. Remember their lifelong journey of making their own decisions. Your proactive communication, rooted in empathy, can prevent so much misunderstanding and heartache. It builds bridges of understanding where walls of resentment could easily rise. It's a behind-the-scenes effort that yields immeasurable rewards. And if you are a parent, like me, finding yourself in the golden years, navigating this new chapter, don't be afraid to express your limits. Don't shy away from articulating your needs for privacy, for dignity, for the right to manage your own life as much as you possibly can. It's not about being stubborn or ungrateful for their care. It's about preserving your identity, yourself, and your overall well-being. True love, the kind that forms the bedrock of a strong family, truly respects individuality. It honors the person each of us has become through our unique life journeys, and the person we still are, capable of making choices and having a voice. It's about finding that sweet spot where care feels like genuine support, not suffocating control. After so many years of life, seeing so many different family dynamics play out, I can say with absolute authority that dialogue is always, always the best way. It's the primary tool for a healthy transformation in relationships, the path to understanding, to mutual respect, and ultimately, to a deeper, more resilient love that can withstand any challenge. This whole ordeal, as emotionally challenging as it was, became a powerful, personal lesson in exactly that. It solidified my mindset about how to navigate these nuanced conversations, proving that open dialogue can transform potential conflict into a powerful catalyst for stronger, more authentic bonds. And this wisdom, born from my own experience, is something I truly hope can help you and your families as well, guiding your own decisions towards harmony. Because the way we approach these vital conversations defines the very quality of our relationships, and ultimately, our shared happiness. Right there. Family harmony. So, as we bring our conversation to a close, that poignant question still lingers in the air, doesn't it? Is it love, or is it control? As I've shared my own revelations and the transformation my family went through, it's become clearer to me that the answer is rarely simple, and it's certainly different for every family. There's no one-size-fits-all solution, no magic trick to navigate these complex dynamics, but one unwavering truth shines through all the layers of concern, fear, and desire for autonomy. What truly matters, at the heart of it all, is mutual respect. Respect for each other's feelings, for each other's space, and for each other's lifelong mindset and personal decisions. That's the foundation upon which true, lasting family harmony is built. The impact of choosing respect over assumption is immeasurable, and it makes all the behind-the-scenes work of family life so much more rewarding. And now, I turn to you, my dear friends. What do you think? Has this story touched a nerve? Perhaps because you've been through something similar yourself, either as a parent or as a child caring for an elder. Have you wrestled with this very same question of love versus control in your own homes? Your experiences are so valuable, so important, and they help us all understand these dilemmas better. So please, I genuinely invite you to tell your stories in the comments below. I read each and every one of them, and it truly warms my heart to connect with you and learn from your own unique journeys. If this story, my personal revelation from Grandma's life, has touched your heart in any way, if it's made you think, or feel, or even just smile, then a little gesture from you would mean the world to me. Please, give this video a gentle like. It's a small act, but it tells me that my stories are resonating. And it helps this message reach even more wonderful people who might need to hear it. And if you believe that these frank, heartfelt conversations are important, if you want more of Grandma's wisdom and real-life tales to pop up in your feed, then share this video with your friends and family who might benefit from hearing it. And most importantly, subscribe to Grandma's channel for more stories like this. Don't forget to activate that little bell icon too, so you won't miss a single one of our future chats. Your support is truly what allows me to keep sharing these pieces of my life with all of you. Until next time, my dearest friends, remember, this family is our greatest treasure, a precious gift that evolves and changes, and respect, that deep, unwavering respect for each other's individuality and unique impact on the world, is truly the key to keeping that treasure shining brightest. Take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Goodbye for now. And as we truly step into this new chapter, with a deeper understanding and genuine respect flowing between us, I want to take a moment to speak directly to those of you who have stayed with me through every twist and turn of this very personal story. If you found value in hearing my experiences, if my words resonated with you, or if this conversation simply offered you a moment of connection and reflection, then I invite you to join our growing family here. This channel is truly a place for honest stories, for sharing wisdom, and for navigating the beautiful complexities of life and family. If that sounds like something you want to continue being a part of, consider subscribing to Grandma's channel. It's how we keep these valuable conversations going, ensuring that more stories and lessons can reach those who need to hear them. And if this particular tale touched your heart, if you felt a real connection with me and what I went through, a simple way to show that is by giving this video a gentle like. It's a quiet nod, a little sign that we've shared something meaningful here. And for those of you who've journeyed with me right to this very moment, all the way to the end, I'd love to know. Just drop a comment below and let me know you're here. Maybe say I'm with you until the end, or whatever feels right to you. It truly makes my day to see your presence.